Hey, it's Dr. Brenda, founder of the Gutsy Women Club, where women dare to dream and take bold actions to follow their heart's journey. And hey, please subscribe below. I have mentioned some of this in other videos, and I wanted to really dedicate a video to talking about what happens when you feel hopeless and you are gutsy. That's not where I'm at in my life. I am not gutsy. I am just trying to make it through. So I want to talk about that because we all face adversities, and some folks have a lot on their plate, more so than others. And I want to talk to you a bit about my experiences because I spent my early 30s, I've talked about this before, where I really lost everything. I'd just gotten my PhD. It should be like the height of my life. You know, I turned 30. I was downsized out of my university job. I couldn't find, state budgets were cut. I couldn't find another decent job. I traveled, went to 5 states, 3.5 years, tried all kinds of things, and found myself in that basement apartment in downtown Atlanta, you know, just surviving. I had no light in these eyes at all. I went through the motions. I remember one of the most difficult days was I had almost everything I owned was in a little Honda hatchback. And that Honda hatchback was on its last legs. So there I was in Atlanta. It's pretty hot in Atlanta. The AC didn't work, but the heater worked. So I'm driving with my windows rolled open, and then the car, you know, Atlanta traffic's not fun. Pretty soon like, okay, I don't think I can top 45 miles an hour in this car. It's not a great place to be on the freeway in Atlanta at 45 miles per hour. And so I talked to my sister and my brother-in-law, and they're like, oh, well, we use this guy, you know, here's this mechanic. Take your car in, we'll follow you, we'll pick you up. Okay, that sounds good. So I got to the guy's shop. He only took checks and cash. I don't have money, guys. I don't have $1,000. I don't have that. I'm living off a credit card debt, living off credit cards, and you got to be able to take credit cards. And I remember I had to drive away, and my sister and brother-in-law followed me, and I pulled off like at a fast food place. And I said, you guys just go on. I just have to take some time and think about my options. And really didn't know what I wanted to do. Most of my life I've driven a motorcycle, so I thought, well, maybe I can dump this and get a motorcycle. That's not always practical. Eventually, I found a mechanic that did take credit cards, but it was at a really low point. And during that time, I mean, the apartment I lived in was pretty horrific. It was just a unfinished basement. I had a little bedroom, but there were cockroaches all over. It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. And there I was with, you know, I'm smart. I work hard. I've got my PhD. It's like things just were not working out. And, you know, if you're living in the modern world, you're probably saying, well, there's a zillion jobs. Well, back then you don't, you know, and just go online. There was no real online back then. You had to wait for the newspapers to come out and look at the job postings and try to, you know, I mean, I worked at Target for $6 an hour. I worked, you know, I did part-time work. I did whatever I needed to do, but I was looking for that big break that would get my career going, and I felt hopeless. Hopeless to the point where I'm like, you know, maybe I'd be better off just killing myself. I mean, that's the truth. And you may have had those dark days. You may be in some of those dark days right now. And I'm telling you, sometimes the gutsiest thing you can do is just decide to wake up. Decide to wake up. I mean, I had no idea, you know, 20 plus years down the path, I'd be sitting here making this video, walking by a lake and looking at a shipwreck. It's just been an incredible life. If I had offed myself I would have missed out on the best parts of my life, and would have been a real shame. So being gutsy is about sticking it out. There's there are two things really that helped me. And the first, I would say, I didn't really do enough. I didn't reach out. I think people knew, they could look in my eyes and see there's nothing behind there, but I did not reach out like I probably should have to close friends and family. I felt, I grew up on a farm. We're independent. We can tough this out. So talking, getting help really wasn't part of the culture when I grew up. So that was a mistake that I made that I hope that you will be able to reach out. And I'm going to put the suicide hotline in the description. So if you're even thinking about it, call the suicide hotline, please. Please do that. But the second thing I did is I escaped. I didn't escape the way that you think that I might have. So one thing I did is I got in the car and I just would drive north. There's mountains in the northern part of Georgia, and so I would just drive up north, walk around a small town, come on back, and just to give myself a break from the despair that I felt on a daily basis. But I really escaped by writing, okay? I started to sketch out a series of murder mysteries, and the main character was this kick-ass woman named Kate Winston, okay? She was everything that I had intended to be, everything that I wanted to be, everything I wasn't at this point in my life. So, she was like this private eye, and she would get involved in these homicides, and she had conduits to the Atlanta Police Department, so that was the way she got some of her information. So, I learned I'm not very good at fiction writing. I don't do a good job of dialogue. I'm great at plotting, really a great plotter, and outlining it, outlining how the story is going to go. But the process itself made the time pass in a productive way, and I also can tell you I did not have a TV. There was no TV watching during that time. I went years without a TV and really didn't miss it. So the writing, the plotting became part of a way to escape. But let me tell you more about my character. My character was Kate Winston. She was fit. I was not. I was drinking too much. I'd put on a lot of weight. She was sort of like in your face, hey, just doing what she needed to do. And I was just like, okay, what do I have to do to make some money? I'll shine your shoes if I need to. So it was interesting to create that character. So I plotted along in that basement, and I would go, usually the papers came out. I'm aging myself. So the newspapers, sometimes their Saturday night version would come out. So I'd go to the grocery store and I'd pick up the Saturday version of the Sunday paper, because the Sunday paper is where you had all the job ads. Remember those days? Yeah. So I'd get excited. It's like, oh, okay, maybe there's something in here. And typically there wasn't anything that was of interest to me. It was okay. It's like, okay, can I do this? Can I do that? I've got my PhD. I did start applying for jobs without the PhD, because I put that after my name, and it overqualified me for things, and I needed to eat, folks. So PhD, I wiped that out on some applications. So finally, okay, I saw this job posting. I thought, you know what? This could be it. Nah, they don't need a PhD. They do recommend a master's degree, but maybe this will give me the experience, and maybe this is going to lead into another field. Maybe this is it. And so it was a government city position, and so I applied for it, and I went to the interview, and the interview went really well. And I got offered, and I accepted the job. So let me tell you what the job was. The job was a crime analyst for the Atlanta Police Department. I am not kidding you. okay? So it was like Kate Winston was like, I'm in your corner, girl. I am in your corner. And and that position turned into this amazing career. I was there for less than a year. Ended up being assigned to a division that worked with domestic violence cases, child abuse, and then the school detectives, truancy. And so I was there for less than a year, and someone who knew my qualifications, knew my experience, said, "Hey, I saw this posting here. It's up in the D.C. area." And so I looked at it, and they're looking for somebody with a PhD, like in sociology, like my field, experience in policing, knowledge of domestic violence. Can you believe that? It was like, this is me. This is me. And I was like it was like I fit all of those odd things. And it's like I'm pretty sure I'm like the only one in the US who like really can knock those three off. And so I interviewed for that. It was up in Alexandria, Virginia. That, you know, got my salary way up. I was doing interesting things. I started to travel nationwide. Really touched off the career that I had hoped for. So, but it all came from being gutsy enough to wake up, being gutsy enough to survive, being gutsy enough to dare that there was something decent in that Sunday paper. And then I gotta say, find a good escape valve. Maybe you've got your own version of Kate Winston. Create her. You never know what she's gonna do for you, okay? So again, if you're just thinking about suicide, please call the hotline that I'm including here. Get some help. Find positive ways to escape the treachery that you might feel on a day-to-day basis. Try to keep hope, and yeah, you'll come out of it, and you're going to appreciate life more than ever. All right, you are a gutsy woman. Remember that, you're a gutsy woman. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.